So we have our railroad ties, we have our railroad tracks, and now next to the railroad tracks, I'm going to stick in over here to the side. Let's put a phone pole. This is going to be rough. I'm not going to draw it intentionally, at least not this part. Although I can certainly take this and darken it and make sure that it's vertical. So it wasn't a great job. And at the top of the phone pole, we'll give it one of these cross pieces that holds the wire. And those little things on top. There we go. So we have one there. Now, where does the next one go? That's the question. What we do know, as far as placement goes, is that it has to line up, the bottom of it has to line up to a reference line. So we're going to need a reference line. Back to our vanishing point. Just like that. And to the other side, because I made it a thick pole. So it needs to be along this line somewhere. It could be here, which we putting them pretty close together. It could be way back here, which put them way far apart. So we need to figure out where we're going to put it. For this exercise, I'm going to put it right about here. Right about here. Okay. The top, how tall is it going to be, needs to line up to the top of this pole because they're all the same height. Right about like that. Okay, so this pole is going to be about that tall. So let's draw a vertical line going up to there. Okay. So there's the pole. You'll notice it's a little bit thinner than the first one because it's further away. And I use these two reference lines here to give me an approximate thickness for this line. Okay. Now I need a cross piece. How high am I going to make these? You guessed it, we need a reference line. From here to about here, right there, it's going to give us a height of right here. How wide do they need to be? You guessed it, more reference lines. To the edge of this one, and another one to the edge of this one. And for good measure, we'll do one to the top of this one. So these two have this height. This one doesn't have a height, but we're going to base it off of this one. And this one says how high in the pole it is. So we do a little horizontal line right here, and it's got to go across from here to here, but back here. So the height is dictated by this line, and the width is dictated by this line to that line. From here to here at this height, right there. And then this is this high over here for the thickness of it. And the other line will cross like so, and then down. So there's the cross piece. Okay. And we'll I'm going to cheat and just draw those two small things up here. Now, if we really want them in line, we can do more reference lines. Now, where does the next one go? It's a great question. So the next one, we're going to figure out mathematically where they're going to go, just like we did here. Let's find the middle of this pole right here. And so let's see about that side. Let's see, that big to there. The middle is about there. So I'm going to draw a reference line from the center. Very light line like that. If we take a line from here through this crossing point up to the top line, that'll give us the location of our next pole. Let's go from here through here to right there. There's the location of our next pole. Now we're going to draw a down line to the next pole. There's the next pole. So the same things happen here. The height of the crossbar was at this line here. I'm going to switch to a sharper pencil. So the height was here, which means the height is right there. And we go over to here, come back over to here, little down thing there, fill it in. Okay. That one seems way too long, but that's what it is. It is a little too long. I probably overshot it, or the reference line isn't exact. Let's find the middle of the next one. So we start from the center of this pole, line it up to here. It's going to be right there. Line straight going down. Okay. Another cross line from here, which is there. Oh, we need a second line. So if you're following along, go ahead and throw a comment in the chat. And these lines are also getting fainter, so I'm not drawing the lines as hard. Next pole, same exercise, straight up through the center to there and down. And there's the middle. As we get further away, you can also start doing a little bit more freehand. Okay, the placement is more important than the quality of your line. Now this one's going to come down a little bit further. And pull down. And the next one here and pull down. And the next one about there, pull down. And the next one about there, pull down. And so on. See how close they're getting? How's that look? What do you guys think? How does yours look? Is it coming out okay? You can take your time and work it out, work on it. Now we're going to add some cross pieces. I'm not going to even measure these. I'm just going to do these crosses like that. Because by the time you get down to the distance, you don't see them at all. What we do see, what we want to add now, is the wires that would be going from pole to pole. So I'm going to draw a line like that to give the reference to the pole that's over here off the paper. And then a saggy line to that one, and to that one, and to that one, and there, and there. We'll switch to a sharper pencil so the lines disappear into nothingness. Just like that. Okay, and there's double lines because there's two sides to this thing. Thicker pencil. There we go. How's that look? Hope you're liking it. Let's do a scene on this side. Let's put in like a train station. So I'll give myself a reference line. Let me sharpen my pencil. So sometimes it's easier to draw a side view of what you're trying to draw, just like we did here for the train track itself. let's do a side, a profile view of a platform, train station platform, and make it a little bit deeper than that because it's going to be really close to us. Okay, we'll make it an elevated platform. Here's the side of the building. Here's the building vertical. A little bit of a roof overhang. Just like that. So now we'll do our vanishing point lines. Running our lines from our vanishing point to our points on the building. I don't know how big the building is going to be yet. Okay. Ourselves a little bit of a roof line, and we'll have the roof go flat off that way. Okay. Now I don't really know how big we're going to make this station. I guess we'll make it about that deep. So we've got here a line for the platform where it stops. The building will stop here, so it'll have to go straight up to this reference line right there. Okay, which means the roof line is going to stop here. Which means this line is going to stop somewhere over there. Now, I lied before because I got myself a little bit into trouble. Remember I had the rules that was 1 point perspective is either sideways, up and down, or straight back to the vanishing points? Well, this diagonal line is definitely not to the vanishing point. So the problem that I've given myself here is that to get this other this roof to be equal in perspective, we would need another vanishing point way up off the paper over here. So I've sort of got myself in trouble there. So I'm going to change it. Find my eraser. Okay. And we're going to make this the front of the building. I'm going to still make this an overhang. But we're going to put a nice billboard over here. And we'll make the roof of the building about here. And we're going to make this a sign saying something like, I don't know, Petticoat Junction. Okay. So this means that this vertical line goes here. There we go. I dodged that bullet. And over here, and we'll make this, I don't know, maybe, a train station in the Old West that'll have clapboards as far as the side of the building goes. So we'll just draw a bunch of lines going off this way. A little trim over here. There we go, like that. So let's give ourselves a door. I'm going to put a mark here. You know what? Let's put a door in the center. This is a great exercise. Let's find the middle of this area. Now, we could do it by eye. Is that the middle in perspective? Is that the middle? Where is the middle? There's a way of finding out exactly where the middle is. Here we go. I'm going to draw a line from this corner to this corner. Now, these are just reference lines. They're guidelines. They're not meant to be in the drawing. Be very, very light. Okay. Well, that wasn't that light. I'll erase it later. And then one from this corner up to this corner. There's the center. So that's the center. I don't know how wide we're going to make the door. We'll make it about put the center line of the door here. We'll make the door that tall. So there's the top of the door, just like that. Okay. Door about that wide. Now these lines, that's not accurate. We can make it accurate. We would have to do a lot more of these crisscrosses in order to figure that out. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let's go back to the center because I want to place a couple of windows centered here. So we'll do the same thing to find the center of this open area. So there's the middle of this side. So the window will go here. And the middle of this side will be here. So there's the middle of this side. So there's the center here. There's the center here. Well, since we've done this, we might as well figure out exactly where the middles of the windows are. Or we'll give it some guidelines. So there's the center of this one. So this is how we would do the door as well. So since we've gone this far, we might as well do it. There's that line here. I know it's a lot of diagonal lines. It gets really confusing sometimes. Gotta keep track of them. So here's the middle. This is the quarter line. So that's quarter. No, this is this is half, quarter. That's the eighth line. So we have the eighth line here. We need an eighth line here. Okay, there's the eighth line there. So this is between the center of the window and the center of the door. So this is actually going to be, we're going to put the edge of the door right there. Let's do the eighth lines over here too, because the doors are going to be wider than the windows. This will be a double door. Side. So if you're keeping track of these, It might be good to number these. I'm going to number this 1. Let's see, so this is 1. This will be 0 over here. Okay. So this will be half. See that? Zoom in that a little bit. That's a half, which means that this is a quarter, and that's a quarter. And this line here will be an eighth. 1/8. And here is an eighth. Okay, let's see. 8 is a quarter. Here's another eighth line. I have a whole video on doing fractions using a ruler. So that's an eighth line, quarter line, eighth line, half-inch line, quarter line, eighth line. Here's the eighth line here. So in reality, this is 0, 1/8, quarter inch, 3/8, half an inch, 5/8, 3/4, 7/8, and a whole. Let's do one more between the eighths, the quarter and the eighth here. Now I can do an X here. I'll keep doing the X's. Eighth, quarter. There we go. So eighth. Right there. So that is the 16th. So let's do our window from the 16th to the 8th. And we'll do, from the 16th to the 8th, we'll do the door from the 8th to the 8th. And we'll do the 16th to the 8th over there as well. The 16th, right here. Make the window this tall. And then a reference line. I know it's a lot of work. Out here to the quarter. Reference line here to the quarter. We'll do a reference line all the way back because we've got to make the other window on the other side the same height. And so, close this in over here. So there's the shape of this window. And if we're doing from the 16th, that's going to be between the 8th and the quarter, so it's going to be right about there. Okay, so if we want to do it exact, we would have to mark our lines. There's one, so it's this line right there. Eighth to the quarter. Oh, this eighth line didn't go all the way up. There we go. Eighth to the quarter. There's a line right there. So that is the 16th right here. Cross right there. So there is the edge of this window. Right here it goes from this reference line to that reference line. So you see from this reference line to this reference line, that's the height. Okay. And then we did the other one on the 8th line over here, so that'll be the 8th line right there. Same height here. See, we make our line a little bit more vertical. There we go. My lines are a little bit not parallel because this line should be up like that, which means I've messed that up. But here's the top. Here's the bottom. So basically, in perspective, these two windows are the same size, even though my lines are not exact. If I had a straight edge and I were using a parallel rule or that sort of thing, these would make a lot more sense. or be a lot more consistent. There are ways of doing parallel lines using triangles, and that is you could mount, you could tape down a triangle at the bottom of your piece of paper like so. So if you tape this down here, what button did you could tape this piece of paper, this triangle to your piece of paper, and then you could use another triangle across going like that as a straight edge. So this would be the straight edge and keep you going accurate as far as your directions go. Consistent. But like I said, so these windows are the same size in perspective. Now we're going to improve the door. We're going to make the door a little bit better than it was. Let's redraw the lines. We're going to use the 8th line here. And we're going to use the 8th line over here. Okay, so that is the doorway. And it was going to be this tall. Right, and we'll have to erase a little bit in there. That didn't work out well. Use my erasing shield. Right here, the really thin one, and erase the proper line there. If you don't have an eraser shield, you can use an index card for that. But for this really tiny thing, the eraser shield really is the go-to tool. And there's a link to the eraser shields on the website in the equipment page. So there's the door. There's the windows. They're even in perspective. And there's the start of our building. So off in the distance, we can make this, we can add some other things to this, you know, a la Bob Ross. It's your drawing. We can add mountains that would go past here. The horizon line is about there. It goes all the way across. So the mountain range would be here. You can give yourself some clouds. You know, some clouds are closer together. Closer to us will be bigger, and so on. And at some point we will add a train. We could also add for the outside of a long parallel to the train tracks, and on the outside of the building, we can just give ourselves a roadway that'd be further out there. Okay. So there's a roadway or something of that sort. So there you have it. There is the classic train track exercise, along with some phone poles on the side, telegraph poles, whatnot. A train station in perspective, figuring out where the windows would be with this cross method. We're going to cover more of those when we add flats to our stage. We're going to do a set design using putting our set on a stage and figuring out the size of the flats in perspective. And that's our deal. That's where we're going. I hope this was great, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.